as chief commentator of Business and News Reports.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to call our next witness, Donald Trump, who certainly needs no introduction. Your fame and reputation precede you, Donald. We're very happy to have you here. We know you to be very frank and outspoken, and you've had extensive experience, not only in large real estate developments, but also in sports and gaming and entertainment industries. And I'm glad you're able to make it here this morning, and appreciate your waiting and being so patient as you have been. So we welcome you, especially to listen and learn from your experiences, as we know you've been very much involved in regard to this credit crunch that we have before our nation today. So you may proceed in any way that's comfortable with you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Respectful. Completely respectful. All right, I continue.
Sure.
Donald, you may proceed.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, I think I could say to Mr. Seidman, who I believe has done a really fantastic job while he was in government, that had the 1986 catastrophe of the Tax Reform Act not been passed, I'm not sure that you'd know Mr. Seidman in the capacity of RTC. You'd know him in some perhaps more positive capacity, but not in the Resolution Trust. And I think in bringing that point up to Mr. Seidman before, he tended to agree with me. I think. Good. So this tax act was just an absolute catastrophe for the country, for the real estate industry, and I really hope that something can be done, as Congressman Thomas recently said, that something can be done to change at least parts of it, because it has taken all incentive away from investing in real estate.
Is this man not amazing?
And real estate really means so many jobs. I mean, you have a city called New York City. You have a city, Boston. You have other cities and so many other cities. But I can tell you from very personal knowledge, New York City has virtually no construction right now. And we're not only talking about office buildings, of which there are many. We're talking about housing, moderate income housing, low income housing, even high income housing, where you create jobs, you create so many other things. They buy carpet, they buy furniture, they buy refrigerators, they buy other things that fuel the economy. And incentive has to be put back into the construction of things that are needed, such as housing of all kinds. I heard this morning that we've had the lowest number of houses built in terms of the housing since 1946 or 1947. And that's not much of a tribute to this group of folks that are representing the country, unfortunately. I feel, I feel very badly about it. Everybody feels very badly about it. The fact is that the one word that nobody up on the panel has mentioned is the word depression. And I truly feel that this country right now...
You hear him? Did he just predict the 2008? Yes, he did. He did. Because they pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And then Barack Obama took money out of Freddie and Fannie Mae. All the money went into that. So people's tax money went into some other force, Freddie and Fannie. And they, boom, it looked like they did great for the economy. It looked like they revived the economy. They didn't. They didn't. They put subsidies and different money and all this stuff into Freddie and Fannie Mae, and they stole from them, which is the honest truth. But let's continue.
I was in a depression. It's not a recession. People are kidding themselves if they think it's a recession.
Exactly.
Look at what's happening in the automobile business and in the retailing business.
1991. Were you even alive?
Part of the country virtually is a total disaster, but he feels very badly about it. The fact is that the one word that nobody up on the panel has mentioned is the word depression, and I truly feel that this country right now is in a depression. It's not a recession. People are kidding themselves if they think it's a recession. You look at what's happening in the automobile business, in the retailing business. The retailing business in any part of the country virtually is a total disaster. But the real estate business, we're in an absolute depression. And one of the reasons we're there is what happened in 1986. In addition to what Mr. Seidman said, is what happened in 1986 with the changes. So I really came on the basis that I wanted to, I'll answer questions on it, but I wanted to discuss the Tax Act of 1986. Active, passive, you're absolutely right, 100% right, and something has to be done. It has to be brought back. It has to be reformed. It has to be taken care of. I think for certain types of building, such as housing, I think depreciation schedule should be very severely limited, cut, so that people have incentive to build housing as opposed to commercial, which really, again,
It's great. Do you see? Trump is actually the one that created that end of New York. The whole end. He's a developer. He makes buildings. Do you know how much he influenced people? And even back in the early 90s, they tried to say he was racist. He kicked people out of houses. He didn't kick anybody out of houses. Actually, to be honest with you, last year when he was running for president, there was a female found squatting in one of his apartments. Somehow a vagrant got in and she was able to squat and use that as a place to go to sleep. It was a black lady. She was very different, okay? She was on a different spectrum. And she said she wasn't leaving, so she said, "Go cops, cops bye." Then it gets federal because it's in Trump's building, and he's a big corporation owner. This is before president. But she said, "I'm not coming until you send Trump down." She sent Trump down as a black woman with mental issues that was supposedly squatting in his complex and place and building area. I'm not sure, but they met, and what did he do? He's so racist, right? He's so racist. No, what did he do? He let her stay where she was staying, and he actually sent her roses every month, food every day. He sent her food every day. Every day he sent her food. Oh, such a racist, right? He gave a bitch a housing. She's probably in a nice house right now, for all we know. That's all he disclosed. He just disclosed that he gave her that. Trump is awesome. Chill out. All right, let's continue. My bad.
Is probably taken care of for a long while. The reason it's taken care of for a long while, however, unfortunately, is the fact that the economy is so bad that there's no reason for the commercial. And I think that gets taken care of and gobbled up very quickly if the economy improved. One of the big things that we don't have today that we used to have, and that was a very good thing for real estate, and that's the whole word of syndication and investment. And if you're a dentist and you're making $200,000 or $300,000 a year, and you can't invest now in real estate. The reason the stock market is artificially high, in my opinion, is there's no other form of investment. I mean, you can't put it into real estate, and you can't put it into bonds. So people are putting it into a stock market. All the companies in the stock market are doing lousy when the stock is high. And I think what we have is
so smart.
When the stock market goes down by, let's say, 1,000 points in 2 days, which perhaps it might, then we're...
Stock market's the highest it's ever been. Look at this, 1991. He is an egomaniac. He loves his ego. He loves his brand. But his brand is patriotism, and it's helped our country so much. The leftists do not want to believe this. They want to believe all the channels and conspiracy theory channels they watch about how horrible America is doing right now. Not correct. They need to actually look around and do research. But continue. He's doing amazing right now.
Full-scale depression. Then everybody admits it. Then the politicians admit it. The president's going to admit it. Everybody's going to admit it. And right now, the only thing that sort of keeps the word depression off their lip is the fact that we really have a 3,000 stock market, and people are surprised to see it.
That's true.
Companies certainly aren't doing very well within within the market itself.
He sounds the same,
but the
right?
syndication of real estate was a very positive thing. And you can't syndicate. You can't have people putting up equity. That would take a lot of the strain off the banks. If people could put up equity in the form of equity money for syndication,
right,
where you used to be able to go out and syndicate a piece of real estate, today you can't. A lot of the strain that we're talking about, liquidity crisis, a lot of the strain comes off the banks. And I think it could really open up a whole new market. And the other thing is, frankly, by having cut the high-income tax rates to 25%, as an example, people don't have the incentive anymore to invest. They're saying, why should I take a chance on investing in lower moderate-income housing? I might as well just pay the tax.
That's true what he just said. This is in 91. He just said 25%. We just went right back down to that. This is 2018. This was filmed when I was 3 years old. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. That's nuts. That's nuts.
But the fact is that 25% for high-income people, it should be raised substantially, with the understanding that if you invest, you can get it down and down substantially below that number. The incentive was taken away when the tax rates came down for high-income people. And I say leave the middle, leave the low, lower them. But people with money have to have the incentive. The dentists, the doctors, they have to have the incentive to invest, and there's no incentive. So New York City desperately needs housing. There's no housing being built. Every city needs housing now. There's no housing being built. And I hope in ways and means that...
Funny, after this, he made New York booming. He incentivized so many apartments and houses and low-income places. He created a block of New York City. You have to admit that. Continue.
To be able to do something with respect to housing, because if it's not done, you're just not going to have any construction jobs in this country. New York City has the lowest number of construction workers, I think, since the Depression. I was with a very, very capable firm the other day, the biggest construction firm in New York City, HRH, and it's called HRH Construction, and we were discussing what they had planned. They said they have not one building planned in New York City for the next 2 to 3 years. Now, you think of that. Not one building planned. So you say that means not one electrical worker. I mean, they're just finishing up some buildings, and when those buildings are finished, there's going to be nobody employed in the biggest industry in the country, because construction is the biggest industry in the country. And there's going to be...
Construction is the biggest industry in the country. And if y'all care about the videos I make and my output, please just continually like and just watch and subscribe. I love y'all so much. I need to go to sleep. Yeah, I just work with dogs for about 12 and a half hours straight, working, cleaning, doing all that. So let me get some sleep, and then I'll upload this. I love y'all so much. This is Born a Hawkeye, and I love y'all feedback, so just let me know how you feel. Thank you. All right, bye.